What's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday. I'm BobbyFi. I just wanted to do a quick little lineup review because we haven't done one in a while. And I just wanted to go through a few things. I haven't been doing well recently. Some of it I can chalk up to variance. I actually had two profitable NFL weekends, but very slightly profitable in the playoffs. And I just haven't done well at basketball since the new year after a terrific December and terrific November. So want to figure out what's going on exactly. And maybe it's mistakes I've made, maybe not. We'll take a look. We're going to start off by using yesterday as an example. I played only one lineup on each of the 555 and the 555 on DraftKings and the 777 on FanDuel. I'm sorry, the 444 on FanDuel. It was not a great night here as the alley-oop had. It wasn't like a horrible night. I actually liked a lot of the lines I took. My last 2v2 swap, which I left in the $80 tournament, would have put me well into the deep cash over here. See what I was trying to do. I initially had no interest in playing LeBron and Harden. When by the end of the day, it was really hard not to play them with the value. And you can see here that the value worked out well. You had Christian Wood at 4K, obviously popular 28. Montrezl Harrell was good for 6,800, put up 44, and even could have been more in that game. Deadman with 30 at 3,100 was obviously good. Not as, Maker had a big game, and I didn't have him on this lineup. Markieff Morris, I decided to go with. He was low owned, and it was solid at 4,200. This turned into a blowout, so I could understand what happened with Hayward. Harden has just been so terrible, but I'm going to keep riding that one. And then I played the incredibly chalky T, which, maybe I could have gotten away from, but I ended up liking it enough to go with it. And what's interesting is I did not play T on FanDuel, and I played just one large lineup on FanDuel yesterday. And basically what I did was I wanted to get exposure to Westbrook and Harden. I didn't know, I really felt like it was a spot where one of them is going to have a monster game. It was Westbrook. I didn't play him on DraftKings, but I played him on FanDuel. And you had nice ownership for Westbrook. And even though Ben Simmons sucked, actually Ben Simmons was on a good path for a while, but I thought the lower ownership combined with the differentiating the build and skipping the guys like T or some of the other potential value at point guard was a good way to go. I did eat the Lou Williams chalk because I decided to run it back with Kevin Huerter. And by the way, Kevin Huerter, I think he had like 0 at the end of the first quarter or something like that. So this is pretty much, he would have been fine, at 5,200. I really like that play. I stand by it. I thought Will Barton was going to be a little lower owned than he was, and I really liked him in that matchup against Houston. Obviously, the blowout didn't help, but he was just terrible. Brandon Ingram had one of his worst games, and yet we still got away with it because we had a beautiful Jeremy Grant play, the obvious Montrezl Harrell play, the fairly obvious Nerlens Noel play, and then you mix that in with these other guys that we played over here. Noel was 4K over here, and Westbrook, the Westbrook Simmons combo was like completely unowned. Sure, we could have got another 20 out of Simmons. That would have been nice. We still weren't going to win the tournament or anything, but I think that I really feel good about the way I built the lineup. I skipped LeBron over here. I originally had LeBron and Harden in both, and I just didn't want to end up going there. I just felt like there was too many good plays at shooting guard, and I felt that at small forward that I thought that Brandon Ingram had enough upside to pay for that 8,700 price tag, and I thought he'd be low owned, which he was. Obviously didn't work out, but still cashed, made money on FanDuel, lost money on DK, one of those nights. But can we learn stuff from this? I didn't like the Hayward play that I made at the end. I didn't like the swap I made, but I felt there was a good enough chance for LeBron to go off at no ownership. And I felt like if him and Harden, put up their 70s or whatever, even just 70, you can see what would have happened with this other value around. I mean, we can do some real quick math right there, and that's another 50 fantasy points. Not that we were going to win the tournament, but if we can get what we're supposed to get out of our big guys, which we're aiming for, we're running in there with a competitive lineup, and we've got a shot. And then you never know. Maybe it's the night Harden drops 90 or so, or LeBron does, and we win the tournament. Maybe instead of Thon Maker, Christian Wood ends up going off a little bit more. There's a lot of ways it could have gone, or Markieff Morris even. Gordon Hayward doesn't need to have that happen. There's a lot of ways. But if we get our 70 or 65 even, let's just say to be generous, from Harden and LeBron, and we get our 50, or I'm sorry, our let's just say even 35, not even the big score from Hayward, we're right in contention to win this tournament. So I like the process. I'm not going to ever feel bad about that one. There are other times where I've made mistakes, but I don't think this was a glaring one of those times. let's take a look real bit quick back at just a little bit older history and see if there was anything from the night before. The night before was a nothing slate, so we didn't really play it. I played 3 in the box out yesterday, by the way. This was the pivot I made off of my original lineup. I left it in the $88. You can see it's a lot different. I had Smart, Aldridge, Noel, and I decided to switch over to wanting to play Harrell and then wanting to get Harden in. Oh, I did play Goodwin in this one, which I thought was – look, I know it worked out, but it was a very weird play that you had – I did – play Brian Goodwin, I think, in 2 out of my 3 $88 tournaments. Yeah, Brandon Goodwin, I mean. And he crushed, but there was other guys who crushed more at 3K, and you didn't need to use a guard spot. So, look, it is what it is. I feel good about it. I actually feel like the play was pretty solid. It would have been kind of nice to have, this deep cash in the other one. We would have been, made $1,000, profited $1,000 instead of losing $550. But hey, you can't. I made the choice to go a different route and didn't leave Siakam in there, and things could have gone different. Anyway, we'll go to some other history here. We are going to take a look at the day before. It was actually the last time I played was Monday before yesterday. And I had a lineup that I thought was going to have a real chance for a minute. Really liked the thinking behind this one. I really initially wanted to go with a full-on Cleveland Knicks stack, and I'm glad I didn't. I did end up leaving Garland, who sucked it up pretty bad for me. Elf Payton got low ownership on him. I liked the LeVert, Harris, Dinwiddie so much, and I know Harris sucked, but that it made me want to run back with Ben Simmons. And no one, only 12% Ben Simmons at 84 fantasy points. He went completely nuts. Just a real solid build, probably a little bit chalkier than most of my tournament builds. But when you're playing a 555 with 400 people, you don't need to necessarily go completely out of your way. And there was late news that affected some of these other decisions, but there wasn't really anything. I actually don't think I played many of the late games, but there was on the slate you were trying to look for, do I want to go for the late? Do I want to go for the early? Anyway, I was in the top 3 of this one for a little while early, and then just didn't get enough out of Morris, didn't get enough out of the Cleveland game, Peyton, Garland. Could have gone a little differently, even with the Harris chalk and everything. Still feel good about that one. That obviously was a good day. Made 555 buy-in, profited 995. Always take that. Look, I would take tripling up my money every single day, so I'm never going to complain about that one. The other one that day that I played that was the big buy-in was the bounce pass, which I did really not well in, I believe. Actually was bad. Yeah, it was really bad. But it was one of those crazy high-scoring nights, too. So I can tell you exactly what happened here, which is as bad as my lineup looks. So basically what I decided to do was fade Damian Lillard. Now, that didn't work. He put up 95 fantasy points. I decided to play LeBron, thinking that the Celtics are pretty tough. They play this team. LeBron's going to have to play hard on my MLK day. I looked for a little narrative, and I feel good about it. I stand by the LeBron play. We had the chalky Russell. I don't know that I can feel good about the avoiding of Dame Lillard and hoping that it got made up for by Gary Trent, Mario Hezonja, and then maybe the unnecessary chalk of LMA here. Yeah, I probably could have done a little better, but the truth is, even if I just do the 1v1 swap, which I was able to do, Booker for actually, if I do the 1v1 swap, if we get an extra 43 fantasy points, are we in the cash line? I think we've got to be. Yeah, we're 43 plus, yeah, so we'd be at 322, which would actually still not even put us at the cash line. So, you know what? Hey, whatever, it happens. Not the best lineup I've ever constructed. Tried to make the late pivots. Didn't work out my way, but I did like the Pascal play. I remember, that was the one I felt really good about. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You could see I've been playing more LeBron on the road, thinking the Lakers would need him because the Lakers, as good a team as they are, they're clearly flawed and they're missing a third piece. And if they need someone at the end of games, much like Oklahoma City with Chris Paul, LeBron does tend to take over. It just hasn't happened. The 30-point blowout to Boston, can't predict that, obviously. But even against the Knicks yesterday, they didn't really need him. You'll see LeBron with some big scores in the very near future. So far, not too unhappy with my play. I definitely don't think it was ideal, but it was solid enough. Going back a little bit further, just because I will. but maybe if there's one criticism I had of myself, it's not eating the chalk that I like. And look, can Damian Lillard still get outscored by Booker? And will I fade Damian Lillard even tonight on a 3-game slate? Maybe. But yeah, I could certainly see why people would consider that a mistake, even though I don't know if I entirely agree. You can see the Wildcat lost a tiny bit in that one overall with 333, but had a nice lineup. Unfortunately, look, if you want to try and win tournaments with 2-game slates, you got to take chances. I played Jamal Williams, tried to take that chance. The rest of my lineup I feel pretty strong about, but it didn't work out so well with Jamal Williams here. But obviously you can see with the pretty heavy chalk that I was playing elsewhere, I kind of had to differentiate. The Chiefs and Jamal Williams were my way of trying to do that. Didn't work out, so be it. Still overall a good day for football. Not much, literally made a couple $100 off of a couple thousand, so it wasn't great, but it felt good just to like have a winning day when the NBA has not been so good to me the previous week. And we could take a look at some of the other tournaments that I played the previous week. These alley-oops, just getting crushed, just absolutely crushed. And this one, I believe we had, who did we have that was so terrible? Oh, I threw Lonnie Walker in, I remember, because of the late news information. And yeah, just had, Sabonis, just, that's, he got in foul trouble in that game. He just put up 58 against the same team the game before. That obviously didn't help much. Chris Paul doing absolutely nothing didn't help much. DFS was a late ad because I had to try and get off chalk to try and do anything to save this lineup. Dame as chalk put at 55 in the matchup he faces again tonight. Yeah, this is not a great lineup on my part. There's actually not a great amount of correlation. I like the individual plays on a big slate, like looking back at it. I mean, the Sabonis play nearly won it for me the few nights before. But Lonnie Walker might have been a bit of a reach. Obvious situation good against Atlanta, but on a big slate to play him there, probably reaching. I've also been too much on Darius Garland, people would say. I don't think so. I think Darius Garland, he's won me tournaments this year. He's won me 6 figures twice. I'm going to keep riding him. I think that until he gets into the 6K range, he's going to be pretty much consistently in that 25 to 40 fantasy point range, and he's getting better all the time. So I want to sort of be on that one. Anyway, that's sort of where I'm at. Just wanted to do a quick review show. Definitely have not been on my A game lately, but I feel good about the process for the most part. I've been doing less correlating lineups, and I think I might go back to more correlating lineups, especially as we get all this injuries and stuff like that. When we have all these guys sitting out, it makes those games just that much more stackable. And we have to try and figure out our ways to do it. So good luck to everyone out there today. I'm going to play just a few little lineups because it's not a great slate. Me and Sheets will have a video for you shortly. And yeah, we will see you at the top of the leaderboards. Thanks for tuning in, and hopefully I can play a little bit better, run a little bit better, and I will be coming to you guys live with what happened yesterday, 6-figure win edition. Talk to you guys soon.